Alright, so you should have noticed the y variable here, the input is the year since 2005, so that's kind of our starting point. And v here is the value of 1 share of stock. So what's the value of 1 share of stock at this 0 input for y? And you should have said, well, that corresponds to 05, and here in 05 we had a value of $15. What about 1 year later? After that year, well, each year it goes up by 450, so it's that plus that, which is 1950. And then 3 years. If you want to do this in one shot, you could do this. $15 in 05, and then 3 years later would be adding on 3 of those. So in our calculator we could have done this. $15 starting point added to 3 450s. 2850. And then 5 years after 05 would be again $15 and then 5 of those because it goes up each year. So I'm going to hit second enter and manipulate my previous entry, hit 5 there, so that's 3750. So this next one is saying find a symbolic rule that illustrates how to calculate these guys given these guys. And this is what this means. So between the variables v and y, then write the equation in function notation. And I probably should have dictated to you here to use the function name v. So, but let's go after the symbolic rule. How do we calculate these? An equation that relates v and y. So in general here, I mean, we have two calculations here. We have the starting point for 05 added to 450, and then however many years we add on 450 to that starting point. So here, this is the guy that's really changing, and that's the number of years since 05. So hopefully you have a value v is our starting value, and then adding to that a certain number of 450s. A certain number of 450s because it goes up each year, and the number of 450s is dictated by this variable y. So this is our symbolic rule that illustrates y and v, the relationship between them. And then in function notation, if we use the variable name v, remember, function notation, let me start this way, it has a set of parentheses and an equal sign, and what goes inside the parentheses, if you recall, is the input variable y. Function name goes out here, and then what goes to the right is how we calculate output values. Well, how do we calculate output values is just this expression here. So the right side doesn't change. So there it is. In function notation, using the function name v, often we use the function name as what the original output variable is, but this is now the output variable, pronounced v of y. This is still the input variable. So try the next one here and see what you come up with. See if you can answer that, reviewing the idea of the definition of a linear function.